Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Master Series. This time we're going to be talking about Geonosis Republic Offensive Phase 1 for the light side. So for the platoons in Phase 1, it's very important, if your guild can, to get the maximum buff. The last stage of the platoon buff is very important for increasing the damage output of your fleets. Not just for this sector, but the phases going forwards. There's one combat mission in Phase 1 and there's two viable teams. So I've split up the platoons here by the two viable teams and then all of the other units. So the first 6 units we have listed are your Negotiator Galactic Republic units. And the second set of 7 units are your Admiral Akbar Rebel units. Our first option for doing the combat mission is to use the very powerful Negotiator fleet. We're going to really be required to use Anakin's Starfighter here. And then for the front 3 ships, I would take 2 from the BTL Y-Wing, the Bacon Lettuce Tomato Y-Wing, and then Clone Sergeant or Rex's Arc 170. Then for the reinforcements, I think it's reasonable to take 1 from Umbaran's Starfighter, that's Fives' ship, and Ahsoka Tano's Jedi Starfighter. You shouldn't ever need both, especially in Phase 1, so you can take 1 and then platoon the other. And then your optional ships are Jedi Consular's Starfighter and Platoon's Jedi Starfighter. If you take Rex's Arc 170, then platoon Platoon's Jedi Starfighter, or vice versa. You shouldn't ever need both here. And this, once you have the maximum platoons completed, this should sail through the combat mission very easily. The alternative option for the combat mission is to use Admiral Akbar's Home 1, where you're really going to be required to use Han's Millennium Falcon and Biston's U-Wing. Really, you're going to want to have one of Biston or Scarif Rebel Farfinder at Relics and the other at Gear 12 or higher, just because you want to get out of the gates very quickly to start getting your target locks and your turn meter chain going. Your optional third ship will either be the Rebel Y-Wing or Biggs's X-Wing, but either of those should be fine. Obviously, if you take the Rebel Y-Wing, you can platoon Biggs's Starfighter. As a reinforcement, I think you are required to use Cassian's U-Wing, as this will really help fuel a bit more of the turn meter. It's going to allow you to dispel the enemy buffs, which is quite important against some of the comps you can face, such as the Geos, or even against the Separatist teams. Then you can use Phantom and Ghost if you want to, or even Lando's Millennium Falcon. But really, this core front lineup plus Cassian should get the work done. If your Biston's U-Wing is geared and you think you can pull this composition off in the CM, it's such an asset to your guild, as this allows you to just platoon the whole Negotiator fleet, which takes a bit of pressure off of someone else who may not have a fleet like this, or may not have as good a Galactic Republic fleet, and they need those extra units to really help them out. Now we're going to talk about how we're going to platoon units for the ground areas. Again, we've got some very powerful factions in the ground missions. We have Galactic Republic, which includes Jedis, the clones, and just the normal Galactic Republic unaligned toons such as Padme. We also have the Rebel faction, which is very strong. So we've got Chewbacca, Commander Luke Skywalker, and C-3PO. And then we have the Resistance package of toons, which has 2 very powerful teams inside of it. So we've got those as the core key units we want to look at platooning where we can to ease the pressure off of the rest of the guild. Then below that, while there's some important toons in here, they are more fringe toons which people with lower end rosters or can't make up the teams which really benefit from them should look into platooning so they have access to more teams which will be able to complete or get decent waves in the CMs. In the special mission, we're going to be required to use Padme Amidala as our leader. We have a number of teams that can be used here, but really the best team that's going to give you the easiest chance to get through this mission is going to be General Kenobi with Ahsoka Tano, Commander Ahsoka Tano, and Jedi Master Kenobi. I've used this team several times. It's a very easy clear. You're never going to be required to remod, assuming you have reasonable mods on them. You're just going to have no problems. The next best team you could use is General Kenobi, Ahsoka Tano, Jedi Knight Anakin, and Jedi Master Kenobi. Then we're going to use the same team again, but we're going to replace Jedi Master Kenobi for Commander Ahsoka Tano. This one can be a little bit more RNG, but generally still very powerful, very consistent. Maybe you want to remod just to get a higher focus on health for your team, but I still think you're not going to have many issues getting through that at all. Sometimes a unit may die. That's nothing to panic about. You can still get through it with 4 units. Then we have the general go-to team, which was what basically everyone used before Kenobi and Cat came out, which was General Kenobi, Ahsoka Tano, Jedi Knight Anakin, and C-3PO. This one suffers a bit that RNG can get you. Also, you have the issue that you really want to plug your C-3PO in with CLS. So this team has a couple of things that can be rough for you, which is why the team sometimes evolved into replacing C-3PO for ARC Trooper. He does a similar sort of job, very good at burning through B1s and B2s. I haven't used it myself, but I know a number of people that have used this and think it's a very good solution to the special mission. And then the last team I wanted to mention, it's not a team I've tried as I've only just finished my Bad Batch, but theoretically should be very good, and that's Padme with the 4 core Bad Batch characters. They've got a lot of stuff in their kit which is great for sustain, great for just decimating B1s and B2s, controlling the enemy team. Shouldn't be a problem, but again, I can't be 100% sure as I haven't tried this. It is worth noting that if you have CAT or JMK, you can either platoon C-3PO or use it with Commander Luke Skywalker, depending on how your combat mission teams are going to line up. It is worth noting that with Commander Ahsoka Tano, you do get the added benefit that you can use her Annihilate as a full Annihilate once per wave, and that does refresh every wave to being a full Annihilate. So bear that in mind if you are using Commander Ahsoka Tano in the special mission. The next mission I wanted to look at is the middle Jedi combat mission. There are a number of options to attempt this depending on where your roster is at, and this is the Jedi mission that you ideally want to get the most waves on, as it is worth more points to your guild than the South Jedi mission. I believe that the optimal team for this is Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker lead with Grandmaster Yoda, Shaq T, Old Ben, and Jolie. Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker's leadership is extremely powerful, and you combine that with the cascading turn meter effects of Grandmaster Yoda, his AoE, his battle meditation, his basic double tapping a B1 or a B2. It's a lot of turn meter game for our little green friend. Also, because you have Shaak Ti and Old Ben, you have a lot of redundancy in the fight going wrong. Because it's always possible that the enemy team is going to overrun you. But because Shaak Ti gains turn meter when she takes damage, Old Ben gets turn meter when any other Jedi takes damage. You're likely to be able to get to that point where you can use the Luke leadership ability to flatten out their turn meter, well, their speed, and then take over the fight easily. Jolee is just there simply if all else fails and everything goes wrong before you get to take that turn. He can just pop your guys back up. So this is a really good team, really solid. If you play it well, you're going to generally have zero problems getting through this for a 4-4. But let's assume you don't have this for a second. There's some options you can work with as a sort of build your own team idea. Like, your best leaders are going to be Jedi Knight Luke, Jedi Master Luke, or Jedi Master Kenobi, and possibly also Jedi Knight Revan, but we're going to talk about Jedi Knight Revan later. You're likely going to want a healer, whether that's Hermit Yoda or Jolee Bindu. Either of those would be fine. You're going to want a tank as well. That could be Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, or Platoon, or Old Ben. It's worth noting that if you're using Jedi Master Luke Skywalker or Platoon, and Jedi Master Luke Skywalker isn't in the leader slot, you're going to want Shaak Ti on this team as well, just so you can force the taunt as required. Then you're likely going to want to have 1 or 2 damage dealers. You've got some great options in the Jedi faction between Luke, Kenobi, General Skywalker, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Ezra Bridger, Grandmaster Yoda. And then possibly a utility based on whether you want 2 damage dealers or not. Aayla Secura, actually fantastic. If you have her with a potency cross, a potency set, and 2 crit chance sets, she's going to have a lot of control with her stuns. Actually fantastic for TB. Shaak Ti, obviously great support. She's got healing, she's got buffs, she can speed people up, offense up, force tanks, hide an attacker. Fantastic. And Bastila Shan, legendary battle meditation, is a great ability, really helps your team. Also, her buff is great. Having a stun / dispel, also great. It is important to note that you really want to take at least one unit who has a dispel, whether that's Luke's basic, Shaak Ti's basic, Bastila Shan's special 2, just so you're not going to get stuck behind those droidicas. So yeah, you can really build your own team from here based on where your roster is at, but your best team is going to be this Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker team at the top. Now let's talk about the middle combat mission. I think your best bet for this combat mission is Jedi Master Kenobi with the 4 core Bad Batch. Yes, this is going to be super expensive. Most people won't have it, and that's fine. But I just wanted to highlight this as the optimal team. Jedi Master Kenobi plus these 4 guys is a hell of a team. You're not going to struggle at all in phase 1. Potentially most of the other phases you won't struggle either. Very powerful, very resilient, very good at dealing with multi-stack droids. Has a high burst damage dealer in Kenobi. Has lots of control, super powerful. Your next best team is going to be Rey with the Bad Batch. Yeah, okay. Same principle as above. Not quite as powerful as you don't get all of the Galactic Republic synergy, but still an insanely powerful team. This one's a little bit more reasonable for most people. I assume that almost everyone will have Rex 5's Echo and Arc Trooper in a reasonable condition. If you pair them with Rey, or Kenobi, it should really be an easy 4-4. If you pair them with Shaq or General Skywalker, it can go wrong. You could get blown out in wave 1. It can happen. It's a low chance, but it's worth highlighting that it can happen. If you get through wave 1 in a good place, you're very likely to 4-4. It's worth noting that this wave completion was based on Gas's stats pre-changes. It might even be even easier with Gas now that he gains much more protection from when an ally 501st member takes a turn, thus can stand up quicker. So that actually might reduce the RNG in this team a little bit there. If you want to reduce the RNG even further, I would recommend remodding the 501st Echo with potency sets and a potency cross, because if he lands those stuns on the enemies, it's really gonna make your life a lot easier. So the next mission we're going to talk about is the South Jedi combat mission. Your optimal team here would be Jedi Master Luke Skywalker lead with General Anakin Skywalker, Hermit Yoda, Ki-Adi-Mundi and Bastila Shan. You have insane damage between General Skywalker and Ki-Adi-Mundi and Luke Skywalker himself. You have a lot of sustain in Hermit Yoda's healing, plus his added damage to all of your attackers with his Master's Training buff. You have the legendary Battle Meditation from Bastila Shan, as well as the attack buff and the all-important Dispel. But not everyone is going to have General Skywalker and Ki-Adi-Mundi available. So there's some other viable teams. You have Jedi Master Luke Skywalker with Gas, Hermit Yoda, Revan and Bastila. Jedi Master Kenobi with Cam, Gas, Ayla and Grandmaster Yoda. Or a multitude of different Revan comps with Gas or Grandmaster Yoda. Hoda being someone who crops up in most of these teams, he's great. Same for Bastila and Jolie. This is really where you need to decide what can I use here to get the most out of my team without hindering the middle Jedi CM, as that one is the one that's worth more. So you need to make a judgment call here on your roster and go from there. So now we're going to talk about a host of teams that are available for the South Combat mission. Worth noting here before we start talking about them that if you don't have those teams available for the middle combat mission that we talked about a little while ago, most of these teams can be shifted over to that middle combat mission if you have two from here but can't build the teams from the middle slide. So the best team, I think, is to use Rey, Resistance Hero Finn, Resistance Hero Poe, Holdo and Finn. This team, once it gets going, absolutely unstoppable. You have a lot of sustain from Finn's healing, Holdo's healing. You have a lot of damage and droid stack obliteration between Hero Finn, Hero Poe, Rey's basic. Rey obviously provides a ton of sustain for the team, as she's going to heal herself on her basic, and then you're just going to fuel the protection up on the whole team throughout the 4 waves until you're essentially immortal. Fantastic team. So the other viable teams that we have, Commander Luke Skywalker with Chewbacca, Han, 3PO and Chewie, then either C-3PO or R2-D2, based on whether you're going to use C-3PO in the special mission, whether you're going to platoon him or not. The team is better with C-3PO, but R2-D2 is a viable option. This team's very good. As long as you don't get General Grievous in wave 4, you're very likely to go 4-4 with this team. And there's some great videos on YouTube from people who really break down how you want to play this team in the combat missions. Because it's actually a little unintuitive. You think that you want to beat the B1s and the B2s as quickly as possible, but you actually don't. You want to stun the primary threat, like the droidica, the sniper droid, or the Magna so he doesn't taunt, and the B1s and B2s are just going to kill themselves to counterattacks. Another great team, personal love of my team, has always been one of my favorite teams to use since it came out, is Jedi Training Rey with BB-8, R2-D2, Resistance Hero Finn, and then either C-3PO or Resistance Hero Poe. C-3PO is your best fifth, but Resistance Hero Poe is fine. This team can have a little struggle if you're not in a good place before you take your first turn. It can go wrong. If you don't get good exposes from R2-D2's AoE when he takes his first turn, it can go wrong. But it's a very solid team once it gets going. Once it gets going, it just doesn't stop at all for anything, and it will just plow through. Again, some great videos from people on YouTube about how to mod this team, how to play this team, and it's great fun to use. The next one you could look at is the four core Bad Batch characters, and then one of Shakti, Omega, and Platoon. Obviously, if you have a Relic Omega with the 4 Relic Bad Batch, you're going to have an easy day. Like, it's an insane team. But Shakti adds quite a lot to the team. You get another layer of healing, you get mass attacks out of the deal, and you get offense up. Good deal for everything. And Platoon, he's going to give you that defense up and an influx of turn meter, which can be very helpful. Another team you can use if you are a bit more invested into the Rebel fighters is Mon Mothma with Pow, Cara, 3PO and Chewie. Then ideally you want Hoth Rebel Scout, but Cassian and Biston can work. This team does struggle that it really needs to take a turn to get going. And if it doesn't take a turn, things can go drastically wrong. It's also not a team for everyone, as it's quite a heavy gear investment before you can really get this team in a good place to get it going. But I've heard a lot of people say that once this team's relicked, absolutely fantastic for TB. So I've produced a slide here for what I think the optimal splits are, assuming that you're someone who's gone hard towards Vader or hard towards the Bad Batch. So you have the Bad Batch ready, you've got all of the GLs, you've got the key tunes, and you have Biston or Scarif Rebel Pathfinder in a good position. So we would have a Fleet CM team of Home 1, Han's Millennium Falcon, Biston's U-Wing, Biggs Darklighters X-Wing, Cassian's U-Wing, Ghost, Phantom, and Rebel Y-Wing. We then have an SM team of Padme, Ahsoka Tano, Jedi Knight Anakin, General Kenobi, and Commander Ahsoka Tano. Our mid-Jedi CM would be the team we spoke about earlier, Jedi Knight Luke, Grandmaster Yoda, Shaq, Old Ben, and Jolie. Our South Jedi combat mission team would be Jedi Master Luke with Gas, Revan, Cam, and Bastila. Note that from the optimal team we dropped Hermit Yoda, as this gives us the ability to platoon him to take a bit of pressure off some other players in our guild. Our mid combat mission team would be Jedi Master Kenobi and the 4 Bad Batch, and our South combat mission team would be Rey with Hero Finn, Hero Poe, Holdo, or Finn. With splits like that, we really get to platoon some key units. So we get to platoon the whole Galactic Republic fleet. So Ahsoka, Bacon, Lettuce, Tomato, Y-Wing, Fives and Rex's ships, as well as Plo Koon and Jedi Consular's ships. So that frees up someone else to have the full Galactic Republic team, which is fantastic. We also get to platoon Echo, Rex, so that means that someone else doesn't have to break up their 501st team or their Galactic Legend 501st team. We get to deploy Hermit Yoda, so someone else gets to keep that. We get to platoon Commander Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca and C-3PO, so someone else gets the whole CLS team. We get to platoon R2-D2 and BB-8, so someone else gets those 2 units towards their JTR team if they need it. We really get to cover a lot of bases, which reduces some pressure from other people in the guild, and I think that's really beneficial. But not everybody has the toons that we talked about for the optimal splits, so we've done something a bit more reasonable here. I have made some assumptions that you're going to have General Skywalker, you're going to have the 2 older generation light side Galactic Legends in Jedi Master Luke Skywalker and Rey, and that you have a Negotiator fleet. So if that's the case, our split would be Negotiator, Anakin Starfighter, BTL Y-Wing, Clone Sergeant, 5-Ziz Starfighter, Platoon Starfighter, and Jedi Consular Starfighter. We would try the SM with C-3PO as our 5th member. We would still do the optimal Jedi combat mission team. Our South Jedi combat mission team would be Jedi Master Luke with Gas, Jedi Knight Revan replacing Ki-Adi-Mundi, Hermit Yoda and Bastila Shan. Our mid-combat mission would be Rey with the 501st clones. And our south combat mission would be Rey, JTR, Resistance Hero Finn, Resistance Hero Poe, BB-8 and R2-D2. I think that anyone who's in around the 6.5 to 7 million GP sort of area shouldn't be too far off being able to do this split. And with this split, we still get to platoon a great amount of solid toons that help the rest of the guild. We still get to platoon Ahsoka Tano Starfighter, Rex's Arc 170, and the whole Rebel ship faction, Cassian, Ghost, Wedge, Biggs, Scarif Rebel Pathfinder and Hans Falcon. We also get to platoon Amelin Holdo and Finn, which are important to the Rey resistance team. We get to platoon Chewbacca and CLS from the CLS team, which reduces a bit of strain on other people. And I think that that's still really helpful. You're platooning 4 high tier characters and a whole fleet faction. So I think if you can pull this off with the splits we've discussed, you're contributing really at a high level for platoons, while still going to be able to absolutely kill it on the combat missions and the special mission, and that's going to make you a super valuable member to your guild. Thanks for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you did, please give me a like, a comment, a subscribe, share with anyone else you think might find it useful, like your guilds, alliances, arena shards or friends. And feel free to join my Discord server, which will be in the description. There we're going to talk about TB, other team splits you can do if your roster's not quite up to the level that we've talked about here. Also, we talk about Conquest, TW, Grand Arena, modding, etc. Also, I'm going to be doing a live stream during Phase 1 to show the principles from this video in action, not just on my own account, but I'm going to be having some other people from the community come on the live stream, and I'm going to talk them through their splits and doing their missions, and you can see how it all works in practice. I'll be doing some more videos for Phase 2, 3 and 4, and hopefully you'll check those out as well. Thanks again, and see you for the next one. Bye.